So anything that you missed during the presentation, you'll be able to go back and watch tomorrow through our website. And you may rehear some of the information that you missed. So with that being said, I'm going to get started. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to roll along. Tyson, raise your hand and tell me if you hear me. So we are good. I'm no longer muted. So fire away. Here we go. All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. We are going to be talking about returning to campus. And I'm going to give you the latest information that was shared with me today in my principals meeting. So school opens officially on April 26th. So everybody should know that our middle schools will open on the 26th. I know that some of the elementary schools are opening on the 12th and some are opening on the 19th, but Paul Revere officially opens on the 26th. We're going to start with our sixth graders. Now, the 26th is going to be a pupil-free day. So the first group of sixth graders that are going to join our school are going to be the ones sixth graders on the H advisory track. They will come in Tuesday. So sixth grade first. Then once our sixth graders show up, I just want to remind everybody that everybody returning to campus needs to have a COVID test within 7 days of the opening of school. So if you have a sixth grader and you're coming back on the 27th, remember that the prior week is when you want to have your COVID test. COVID test is one of the steps to returning to campus. When school is open, the district will be providing weekly COVID testing for all students and staff on campus. So after school opens, you're not going to have to go to the COVID testing sites throughout the district. They will actually be bringing staff on campus to give everybody a COVID test on a weekly basis. There will be a more detailed parent presentation on April 5th. The district is still working out a couple of things as far as special ed goes, as far as staggered dismissal times, childcare, all those different things are still being worked out by the district. So on the 5th, the week of the 5th, we'll have another meeting and I'll be able to give you even more information. Okay, reopening school under a staggered schedule, which I mentioned earlier. So Monday, April 26th, like I said, will be a pupil-free day. Your teachers will be checking in with your children virtually for about 30 minutes at some point during the day. And it's going to be, they'll be checking in with their advisory. So that's Monday, the 26th. Our first group of students are going to show up Tuesday, the 27th. That's going to be the cohort H of the sixth graders. They'll be the only people on campus. So you can imagine they're sixth grade. They've never been to Paul Revere before. They don't know the X building from the B building. And so one of the things the district wanted to do is to make that stress as minimal on them as possible. So we're going to have half of our sixth graders that have said they're coming back on hybrid on Tuesday. And then the second half of the sixth graders, the cohort Ls, will be coming back to campus on Wednesday, the other half. And the first cohort that came on Tuesday, they'll be home working virtually. It isn't until Thursday that we're going to bring back that sixth grade group again from Tuesday and our seventh and eighth graders in their cohort H. So Thursday will be the first day that seventh and eighth graders will re-enter our campus through their cohort. And then Friday will be the Wednesday group of sixth graders plus the remaining group of seventh and eighth graders. Now, this only pertains to your family if you chose hybrid mode. You chose that you're returning your child to campus. If your child's staying home, this does not pertain to them. So once again, Monday's pupil free, Tuesday, half of our sixth graders, Wednesday, the other half of our sixth graders. And remember, it's not everybody, it's only a half at a time. Thursday, seventh and eighth graders, half of them, and then Friday, the other half. I know it may seem a little confusing right now, but as we get closer and closer, we'll be reminding you of the schedule and it'll seem easier and easier. So what does the schedule look like? Well, it's going to be our basic Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday schedule. This is the schedule for students returning to campus. Students that are staying home, it's going to look different. You'll notice that there's a transition time from 8:30 until 9 o'clock. That is the opportunity for our families to be dropping our students off at the front, children being scanned in, provided a grab and go snack or breakfast, and then transitioning towards their morning class, which will be their advisory. From 9 until 9:30, there's a check-in, and instruction begins at 9:30. Students go through their first 2 periods, then they go to their advisory. Well, they're not going anywhere, but then, they'll be in their advisory virtually. Then there's lunch, then period 5 and 6, and then dismissal. Our Friday schedule is a little bit different. You notice students are getting out at 2 o'clock, not 2:30. And just like we've done all year, they're alternating Fridays. One Friday, it'll be the H line, periods 1 through 5. The next Friday, it'll be the L line, periods 2, 4, 6. And we'll be here again to answer your questions, like I said, the week of April 5th. All right, so this is your schedule if you're hybrid. This is your schedule if you chose to keep your child at home. You notice their day starts with advisory. Then it's period 1 and 2, 3 and 4, lunch, 5 and 6. If you look at the times, you'll see that there is a half-hour break for our students that are remaining at home, while the hybrid students, the on-campus students, are doing their morning check-in. So once again, online students, here's your schedule. It's different than the hybrid students. Now, we're going to have all these schedules posted on our website. We will send them out to you when everything's finalized, so you'll have paper in front of you so you can refer back to them. I know I'm giving you a lot of information today, but at the same time, this is what it's going to look like. All right, we're going to move on. So let's talk about our hybrid students. To access our campus, our hybrid students are going to need to complete the daily pass on a daily basis. And so there'll be instructions going out to you. I know the district has already sent instructions out to you on how to acquire a daily pass. Every child will need to be scanned in on a daily basis using this QR code. In fact, we've been scanning our staff in already for a couple of weeks. We've been practicing on how we scan them in, but just know that now would probably be a good time as a family to start figuring out how you're going to generate this QR code on a daily basis. Now, the QR codes can be printed out and your child can bring it to school just like a ticket at a sporting event, or you can generate it on their iPad, or you can generate it on their cell phone. Now, just know that if your child is under the age of 13, the parent is going to have to generate the QR code for them. If your child is 14, they can generate it themselves on their iPad. We'll be going over that in more detail as we get closer to the 26th. But I would say now would be a good time to start familiarizing yourself with the daily pass. Remember, all students will also have to go through a temperature check. We'll be checking each child's temperature before they access campus. So there'll be 2 things that we're going to have to do before your child enters our campus. We're going to have to scan their QR code and check their temperature. Remember, any child with a temperature of over 99.9 degrees will be not permitted access on campus, and we'll put them in the easiest way to put it, in a holding area, which will be safe, which will be supervised as we contact you to come back and get your child. Anybody that enters our campus needs to go through the same health protocols as the students do. Now, so if you're going to come and you have a meeting, let's say with Mr. Shibata, one of our counselors, the head counselor, you would have to have a temperature check as well. We would have to scan you in. You would have to create a daily pass. And there's the option for a visitor to create a daily pass before we would allow you on our campus. This is different from in the past. Remember, parents, you just showed up, knocked on the front door, and you entered campus. That's no longer going to be the case. There will be screening of all adults trying to enter campus, and we are really going to limit people we let on campus. It's not going to be the way it normally was, and I'll be giving you more detail as we get closer to that as well. So just know this is what you need to do to prepare your child to come back on campus. You should make sure that you schedule a COVID test within 7 days of returning to campus. Make sure your child understands how they properly wear a face mask, right? Not down around their chin, not with their nose exposed, but it needs to be properly covered. You need to be talking to them about maintaining social distancing between them and their friends. I know that it's going to be a big, they're going to want to be near each other. They're going to want to talk to each other. They're going to want to socialize, but we still need to follow all district protocols, and social distancing will continue. And of course, we'll be practicing proper sanitizing of the children's hands, reminding them you got to wash your hands. All our classrooms will be equipped with PPE items as far as hand sanitizer, Kleenex, all the things that we need to make sure the students are safe and sound, and the teachers. So what does it look like at Revere? Because a lot of you have memories of how you access campus, what the campus looked like. You would drive up the west driveway, your kid would jump out of the car, they would rush off to their first class. That's not happening anymore. All students that come to Revere are going to access Revere through the front gates of the campus. Parents will no longer be allowed to drive onto campus and drop their child off in the west driveway. There will be designated areas for your child to stand as we are screening them in. And we've got these little dots on the ground that they'll stand on. The children will follow the line, right, the dots, and enter campus through the appropriate gates. We're only going to have 2 gates open. We're going to have the gate by the main office and the gate by the auditorium. So the auditorium gate, it would be the one farthest down the horseshoe driveway, and you'll see the proper signage there. And another thing your children notice when they come on campus is that we're going to have one-way hallways. And those hallways will be designated by arrows, and we'll have supervisory staff outside helping them learn which hallway goes in which direction. One of the things that the district is trying to prevent is students walking past each other, right? We would prefer everybody heading in one direction, and that's going to be new for Revere because literally we had children climbing over each other to go from one class to another. Now, remember, this is only going to be in place during transition times. And your transition times are arriving on campus, going to lunch, and leaving campus. Remember, your children are coming to school, they're going inside one classroom, their advisory, and they remain there for the majority of the day. There is no transition between classes anymore. You don't go from advisory to period 1 to period 2 to period 3. We have closed all water fountains. Children will not have access to water fountains. Water will be provided by the school district. There will be water in every classroom, and they're individual water bottles, right? Plastic water bottles, disposable. They'll be provided to children that need them. The suggestion was, well, can my child bring their own water bottle? Currently, the district is not giving me any guidance on that, so I don't want to say yes and no. I will provide you with that information as we get closer and closer to a return to campus. Bathrooms are going to be socially distanced as well. When your child goes into their restroom, they're going to notice that certain stalls are closed. That's because they want the children distanced when they're using the facilities. Also, our bathrooms are going to be cleaned on an hourly basis. Our bathrooms will also be supervised. We're not going to have adults standing in the bathroom watching your children, but we will have adults monitoring the hallways and the bathroom areas to make sure that our students aren't sneaking off into the bathrooms to socialize, right? We want our children to follow all the protocols, and part of that is remaining socially distanced. We'll make sure there are paper towels. I know that's been an issue in the past in the bathrooms. Also, soap dispensers at work, and opportunities for your children to make sure they're clean and healthy and safe. Our classrooms are going to look a lot different than you're used to. These are two of our classrooms that have already been set up. You notice that they're distanced by the 6-foot protocol. I know that there was a change recently and it says 3 feet. The district has not changed their social distancing measurement. It's still going to be 6 feet. So you'll notice we'll have less children in a classroom. Some of our classrooms can fit as many as 17 within CDC guidelines. Most of our classes will be anywhere from 12 to 14. Based on the number of families that have opted in as far as returning to the hybrid schedule, I don't believe we'll have that many students in a lot of our classes. Some of our classes may be around 10, but we'll find out when the schedule is finalized and classroom assignments are set up. When we go have lunch, there will be social distancing enforced as well. You can see on the lunch tables that there are certain areas we don't want children sitting. They have to sit spaced out. They have to sit in alternate areas. The children will not be allowed to face each other when they eat because they'll be removing their masks. They'll still be allowed to socialize, but they're going to be spaced out so we continue to keep these social distancing protocols. And once again, we'll have adults supervising the lunch areas for our children to make sure that they're following our procedures. Now, people are going to be eating all over campus. That's just the only way we can make sure that our students are socially distancing. Each advisory will have an assigned lunch location. So it's not going to be like in the past where your child left their class and just went to the 8th grade quad, went to the covered eating area, or ate on the steps. Each advisory or cohort, however you want to call it, will stay in their pod and they will eat with other students of their advisories. Well, what if my child gets up and walks over to another advisory? Well, then we'll ask them to return to their appropriate location and eat there. So once again, lunch will be socially distanced and children will be eating with their advisories only. So currently, as of this morning, we had 1,777 families fill out the district survey. And of those families, we had 863 that said, we're coming back. Our 6th graders had the most with almost 400 children. 7th and 8th grade, about half of what our 6th graders had. So if you want to do the math, we're going to divide those numbers into two pretty much equal cohorts. So you can see with our 7th grade and our 8th grade, you're going to have probably just over 100 children on campus at a time for those two grade levels. And then with our 6th graders, you'll have probably close to 200 at a time. So if you want to add everything up and do the math, we'll probably have just north of 400 students on campus at one time. 410, 425. But remember, our school's used to having 1,900 children on campus a day. So this is going to look very different. It'll be real easy, or at least logistically, it should be real easy to make sure our students stay in their proper locations and we don't have mixing of the cohorts. If you want to get a COVID test prior to returning to campus, the West LA location for COVID testing is Brentwood Science Magnet. It's over there on San Vicente. That is the closest one to the Pacific Palisades, Santa Monica. There are closer ones if you live in Mar Vista. There's Palms. There's also ones spaced out throughout the city. You just have to go on the district website and find the one closest to you. And remember, 7 days prior, within 7 days of returning to campus, if your child is chosen hybrid, is when you should have your COVID test for your child. Once again, stay connected. Keep on top of our website. All the most up-to-date information will be kept there. Our offices are open currently. Unfortunately, they're closed next week because we're on spring break. But prior to returning to campus, our offices are open. We are answering our phones. You can call the main number, or if you have a direct line to one of our clerical support, you can call them directly. And also, you can also reach out to anybody through Schoology, myself, any of our administrators. Remember, it's time for question and answer. So if anybody has a question you think that only I can answer from our panelists, you can either read them to me. Don't send them to me through the chat because I won't see them. So anybody have a question for me, or are we pretty good? Alana, Justin, Tyson, Chantel. We good?
I think we're good. The questions are being answered.
Okay, so I'm going to do this. One of my favorite cartoons of all time, Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin's getting ready to return to school, but he doesn't plan on doing any work because he's created something called a writer's block, which he's going to put on his desk. And so he'll be Calvin. He's not going to have to worry about it. Just like, I hope you don't worry about it. You're in good hands at Paul Revere. We have the most professional staff you're ever going to meet. Our teachers are committed to making sure that, you know, your children are safe and sane while they're back on campus. But let's be honest with everybody, right? We've never done this before. I have never opened a school in hybrid. I have never had the opportunity, right, to scan and screen a bunch of children onto campus. So this is going to be, there'll be a learning curve for us as much as there's going to be a learning curve for everybody else. So I'm going to ask you today to please be patient with us, please be understanding with us, and please be flexible, because we're going to be understanding, patient, and flexible with our children and our families. If those of you that are veterans of the Paul Revere community, you know what morning drop-off looks like. You know what morning drop-off on Allenford looks like. So think about 450 families, and their only drop-off is going to be the horseshoe driveway on Allenford. And so it may take a little while to process all the children and get them onto campus, especially the first week. We're all going to be learning how this works. And we know technology is not fail-safe. We know that there's going to be a child's iPad that will die before we can read his QR code. We know that one of our touchless thermometers will run out of batteries as we're trying to take children's temperatures. We know that's going to happen. So let's just be patient. Let's just be understanding, and let's be flexible. Also understand this, there's not going to be the type of tardy policy, right, that we would follow during school time. So if your child is in line and class starts at 9 o'clock, don't worry about it. Your child is not going to be penalized. We're going to process everybody as easily and as quickly as we can. So with that, I see it's like 5:40. I believe our open house is starting shortly. So unless you have any further questions, you're free to leave, and then we'll try to answer the questions for the parents that are still here. So there's a question about school buses. Yes, there's going to be school buses, but school buses are only available for those students that are receiving transportation through one of our integration programs, such as Magnet, PWT. There are going to be no private parent school buses this year. I know in the past that Ms. Vogel has organized private school buses, which the parents pay for. That will not happen upon our return on the 26th. But I do want to say that the Big Blue bus and the Metro bus do plan on continuing to provide us services. Remember, the Big Blue bus drops off in front of school in the mornings. That is Big Blue number 14. Unfortunately, I think they've discontinued the 43, but I'll have more information for you on that. And then in the afternoons, Metro is still planning on providing us buses in front of school to take students to the Palisades and towards Westwood Village downtown. I think the H and the L preferences, we're not going to be taking any preference requests. We're going to be grouping the students based on the advisories they're already in. If that's different, Mr. Shibata will be answering that for you. Yeah, you're allowed to bring your own device to campus. Just remember that we take no responsibility for it. If you're going to send your child with their laptop, they're responsible for it. We did provide every student with an iPad. So if you choose your laptop over the iPad, just remember, if it's stolen, broken, or goes missing, we're not accepting responsibility for that. Your child's really going to have to be responsible young adult. If, as far as testing the first day back, I'm going to hope that none of our teachers would give their children a test their first day back on campus. But I will make that request of our staff. Yeah, we will be doing the every other Friday with our hybrid. So if H is the first Friday, the next Friday it'll be L, and they'll rotate back and forth just like that. I can't give you a number of how many will be in each cohort right now. Just know that the size of the cohort is dictated by the size of the classroom. Currently, Revere has classrooms large enough to hold 18 students and small enough to only hold 12. So your cohort could be anywhere between 12 and 18 based on the 6-foot social distancing spacing. I'm not sure what you mean about when testing will start and must be completed. We still have to practice still have to participate in the state standardized testing. We are scheduled to start state standardized testing in early May. And so how that falls on our calendar right now, unless we edit it, it would be our second week back on campus. We're having conversations with the district about maybe pushing that back a little bit, but we still have to stay within the state testing guidelines. And so in a perfect world, as far as I'm concerned, we wouldn't be doing state testing this year, but unfortunately we don't live in a perfect world. And so we have to work within the confines that we are given. You need to be COVID tested within 7 days of coming back on campus. So count down 7 days out, 6 days out, 5 days out, 4 days out. And you can get COVID testing at any of our school sites for free. If you choose to do it at an outside vendor, you would just have to upload those results. And there's a spot for that on the district Daily Pass website. Don't worry about detention. If your child owes detention right now, we're not going to be running detentions at lunch because that would break the cohort. And we're not having students stay after school for detention because that would also break their cohort. If your child owes us 150 detentions, well, we can have a conversation about that at another time. But please don't worry about detention for the 4 or 5 weeks that we're going to be back on campus. How will pickup run at Revere? Very good question. We're still working on that. Right now, the district wants to stagger our dismissal. So we're logistically looking at how that would work. We're going to come up with a plan, and you will have that in plenty of time prior to the beginning of school. So pickup has not been really vetted out yet. Drop off, you're going to drop your child off in the front of the school, either in the horseshoe driveway or along Allenford. Your child is going to come with their daily pass, stand in line, socially distanced, and be scanned into school. And remember what I said is the west driveway is closed. It'll be for our school buses only. So all drop off will be done on Allenford in front of the school. And the child needs to be in possession of a daily pass to access campus. And for some of our students under 13, you can either print it out at home or set it up on their iPad prior to them leaving your car and coming to enter campus. The times for hybrid will be posted on our school website when we get closer to school. Just know the hybrid students start a little bit earlier than the online students. You can go on the district website and in their search bar, type in Daily Pass, and it'll take you to the web page that'll give you all the information you need to know about Daily Pass, how to set one up, how to work with one. The Daily Pass is not difficult, but it may take a little practice. Also, we're going to have a step-by-step procedure for you on how to create a Daily Pass on your cell phone or how to create it on your child's iPad. We have our tech team looking at that and working on that. I know we've done that for our staff who use their cell phones just to create their Daily Pass on, every morning to access campus, and we'll provide the same service for our families to help you through it, an FAQ on how to set up Daily Pass. And I don't see any more questions in our Q&A. I do see some in the chat. Hopefully those have been answered. I'm going to end our meeting tonight. I'm going to thank everybody for being here. Know that we're always accessible through our emails, through Schoology. You can always reach out to us. I want to thank my amazing administrative staff, Dr. Anthony, Ms. Mabashov. You guys are beautiful. Mr. Evans, Mr. Koretz, and Mr. Shibata, you're very handsome as well. And so I want to wish you all a great Easter, spring, whatever break you take, enjoy it. And remember, parents, here's the key to our survival returning to school: patience, flexibility, and understanding. Please give that to us, and we will for sure give that to your children. So everybody, peace and love and good health to you all. I'm going to end this meeting. Goodbye.